I made a statement. The other day. I'm going to triple down on that statement because I read a comment today that had profound impact on me and blows me away. That puts me in a position of, I have to make this statement. I care so much about the profession of law enforcement and the standards and the excellence and the integrity of the profession, but I'm losing. I am losing a massive uphill battle, and it just takes the amount of true American patriots that I'm sadly seeing on a daily basis who bring up arguments that I can no longer pretend don't exist. The other day on the Anti-Hero podcast, over with Tyler and Mike, I made a comment on a statement. We were talking specifically about a Riverside County Sheriff's deputy who I believe in 2024 responded to a fireworks complaint. And you guys can find the video up. It's a Riverside County Sheriff fireworks complaint. Lackluster did a great breakdown. I did a great breakdown. And in the statement on the podcast, I said that I have no problem with the American citizen, if their constitutional rights are being violated, use the Second Amendment. And that clip was chopped up. I don't care. So I'm going to make this very clear because I've outraged countless of you over the last several days. And I'm going to make this crystal clear so you understand this. These are my words. If an American citizen is put in a position or forced to use the Second Amendment on a police officer who knowingly, willfully, with intent, malice, criminally and unconstitutionally violates their civil rights, I will back that American citizen every day of the week and 100 times on Sunday. See, there's words and verbiage we used when we were cops, or when I was a cop, right? You have the use of force scale, use of force continuum, which is officer presence, control tactics, stunning strikes, a baton, OC, all this shit, all the way up to deadly force. And the cop never decides to use that force on a subject or an offender or a citizen. The cop is put in that position to use force on a subject by the offender. The offender forces the police officer to use that. And we who back the blue, American citizens out there who are always like, no, back the blue, you don't understand how difficult the job they have is. We support them. But many of you who are police, who can't stand me, and I've heard this for years, the delivery of how I say things, because I'm passionate, Italian, loud, far overshadows the message of what I'm saying. Many of you can't hear what I'm saying versus how I'm saying it. So I'm going to be very clear. The American citizen has the exact same afforded constitutional rights to live that you do. But for some strange reason, we always back the police when it comes to certain things. I made the statement on the podcast the other day, and then I even wrote it down. It's in my Instagram stories. It's on my Facebook. It's on YouTube. And I made that same statement on paper. The amount of cops out there, police supporters, those of you who are in my comments on Instagram and Facebook, who either can't read or you truly prove you can't be trusted. You cannot be trusted. Shows we have a problem with law enforcement. It's no longer a few bad apples. The bad apples have corrupted, tainted, polluted, cancerously grown and spread to every barrel in the orchard. And I'm praying to God there's a few of you that are going to produce good seeds to grow righteous trees that will reinstitute a righteous crop. And we can go from there. My words were, again, put in paper. They're indelible. They're up online. They're permanent. They're not going anywhere. But many of you who are police, who have integrity, who have backings from every judge and every court case you go to. Traffic court was great. I never, ever once had a judge side against me. Citizens never stood a chance. It's fucking great. Everybody of you know that. How many of you say, see, look at Izzo. He's saying he supports citizens shooting us. It makes me wonder, how many of you will go to roll call today, tomorrow, yesterday, and you walk in and you go, do you see that stuff that Izzo put up online yesterday? He endorsed American citizens shooting us if we come into their homes. Which is not what I said. And if that's what you're willing to do online as representatives of cops, I wish to God I had the time and the resources. I would take every screenshot of every word you said. I would match it to your agency and deliver it to every defense attorney that's in your county and say, you need to research all the other arrests that this cop has done and find out what information they've omitted, what words they've manipulated, what they've twisted, and how many of your clients are actually innocent. But that's a different story. I don't have the time or funds. My words, again, stood up online. But I want to point out how many of you are proving you don't deserve the goddamn trust the American people arbitrarily give you. This is a comment today, and it points out a glaring problem in law enforcement. Now, I would like to believe, and I would like to argue that every one of you out there who's a cop, if somebody knowingly, willfully, with malice and intent, criminally, unconstitutionally broke into your home, you'd light that fucker up. You'd be able to see through them like Grady Judd, right? Be able to read the Sunday newspaper through them. Shot him 68 times and it comes through the heart. God comes through the heart, comes from the heart. How many of you that, if you read about a shitbag criminal who broke into somebody's home knowingly, willfully, unlawfully, with malice and intent, unconstitutionally depriving somebody of their rights, you would be like, fuck around, find out. Fuck around and find out. But not when it applies to you. Not when it applies to you. And many of you on your arguing, well, Izzo, what you're saying happens less than 1% of the time. Yeah. 1% of the time or less is far too many as well, too. Why are you not striving for excellence? What I said online in regard to that video should be condemned in agreement by every single one of you out there. Yes, Izzo is right. If one of us unlawfully, with knowledge and willingly, with intent and malice, kicked in the front fucking door of one of the people that are in our town, they didn't have a warrant, they had no probable cause, they knew they didn't have a warrant, they knew they didn't have probable cause, we know they've got a history of creating probable cause after the fact, and they kicked in the door of ABC 123 Main Street, John Doe's residence, and John Doe woke up in the middle of the night, put a shotgun in their face and pulled the trigger. Based on the Constitution and the oath we swore to, we cannot condemn John Doe, nor will we arrest them. But you act like, oh my God, he's declaring war on us. Here's a comment today, which is shared in sentiment by many of you, that I don't know if you need to clear the cottage cheese out of between your fucking ears, and that's what you have for brains. But I'm going to tell you why the American citizen, who is an actual patriot, knows the Constitution, doesn't support you. To the cops here, this is from Ian Irish, and I don't know if Ian is a police officer or police supporter. To the cops on here who followed Izzo because we liked his hard stance on lazy, ill-informed, non-constitutionally abiding, reckless, disgraceful losers, but there aren't that many of us who are willing to call out bad cops who make the job so much harder for the good ones. There isn't enough clicks from us, but there's plenty from the anti-LEO side. So he made a financial choice to move in that direction. He used to post positive stuff about cops doing right and shining the light on cops and doing bad and holding their feet to the fire. That doesn't get clicks. But telling people to smoke a cop if they enter your home unlawfully, but you know as a cop, gets clicks. Number one, I have to wonder, is there a difference between a cop who willingly, knowingly, unlawfully, with intent and malice, violates the Constitution and criminally enters your home, and a cop who is lazy, ill-informed, non-constitutionally abiding, reckless, and disgraceful? I don't get it. Are some of you just dumb and we are scraping the bottom of the barrel for police officers? Or are some of you just too fucking comfortable on that blue line dick to say, shit, we have to condemn those of us who are fucking it up for the rest of us? I get it. Somewhere in America, there's a roll call and somebody says, do you see what Izzo posted yesterday? He's telling people to kill us when we come in the doors. And somebody's going to go, no, that's not what he said. What he said is he supports an American citizen who, like us, is put in a position to use force against us, which is their constitutional right, the Second Amendment, defending against tyranny. And that cop is probably going to get ostracized, shamed, bullied, just fucking, that's it. Good luck getting back up on calls. Another cop went on the Anti-Hero podcast the other day and said, well, he's condemning people shooting cops. No, that's not what I said, number one. Again, we need to look at your reports. Number two, he had said, if he had opened it up with, if a tyrannical arm of the government is unconstitutionally violating my rights, what the fuck do you think cops are? Where does it start? Do we not need to look back at 2020 through 2023, 2024, and watch how many of you chose the paycheck over we the people? Ooh, you mean I got to rip people out of churches? I got to rip people out of gyms and keep that, oh, you got to wear a mask. How many of you had no problem doing that? I can count on one finger, one cop in the United States who put it all at risk and lost everything by denouncing it publicly. Greg Anderson. Greg Anderson, there wasn't another goddamn cop in the United States who had the balls to use their social media to go online to say, I will not defend this. Greg Anderson is the only former police officer in the United States who stood up against tyranny, and it cost him everything. Cost him everything. And do you notice how the sentiment of the American police officer is, it's okay for me to call out TikTok cops who say that they're going to violate people's civil rights. Didn't get cracked last night, right? So everyone's getting a ticket. You guys love that I point out that because a cop didn't get laid the night before and they're going to issue a citation, that's criminally wrong. You love that. But if I say that a cop, and I make a complete hypothetical, if a cop willingly, knowingly, unlawfully, unconstitutionally, with malice and intent, violates the constitutional rights of an American citizen, placing that American citizen in reasonable apprehension of losing their life, receiving a battery, the same words that you use in your reports when you're justifying your force, you have a problem with that. Do you know the oath that you swore to? Are you really mentally prepared in law enforcement to put the Constitution first? I don't think you are. In this same breath, there isn't enough clicks from us, but plenty from the anti-law enforcement side. So when I was a cop, I never understood the saying, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I never understood it until I left and went, oh, fuck, was I guilty of that? So the American citizen, so I get this straight. Any American citizen who hears or sees or reads what I said and says, yeah, you know, the Second Amendment was designed to protect people from tyranny, from our own government, and cops fall into that. Cops who violate the Constitution fall into that. Any American citizen who says that, who arms themselves with knowledge, all of a sudden becomes anti-LEO. So what does that mean? If an American citizen knows the Constitution and says, yes, a police officer, it's just a title at that point, who decides to kick my door of my front home when he has no probable cause, no reasonable suspicion, no warrant, is violating my rights, I'm going to use the Second Amendment, which was designed by the Founding Fathers for me to prevent government tyranny. You think that they are anti-law enforcement? So by definition, does that mean law enforcement is anti-constitutional? Because you can't have it both ways. Which is it? You're saying that the American citizen who puts the Constitution first is anti-law enforcement. That means by definition, law enforcement can't be pro-Constitution. Which is it? And a lot of you want the compliance, right? I did a video. What launched me in 2017 was I put the statement up online. I started doing content criticizing cops, and I started saying, hey, question. How many of you write your citations, issue your citations, traffic citations, on the attitude of the driver? Oh, my God, I didn't realize how many of you are that stupid. Oh, I do. Countless, hundreds of comments saying how dumb I was, all while on paper, digital paper, you guys put, it's my job to correct the behavior of the driver. If they have an attitude, I'm writing them a ticket. I literally didn't realize cops had no idea what the fuck free speech was. Oh, Izzo, it's discretion. No, it's the court's job to administer punishment. It's corrections job to correct behavior. It's the job of the American police officer, who has the toughest goddamn job in the world, to maintain proper professionalism and remove pressure from one side that supports you, pressure from one side that hates you, pressure from command staff that doesn't have your back, pressure from department policy that will go against what your beliefs are, your own beliefs, your own morals, your own ethics, and uphold the Constitution. You have the hardest fucking job in the United States. You have to shelve your personality, You have to shelve your passion. You have to shelve your feelings and emotions and uphold your professionalism. And on this, when I started to expose that, cops were dumbfounded. I argue with them all the time. If the driver says, fuck you, when they give you a driver's license, you write a ticket, yeah, I gotta correct their behavior. Where does it say that in our training? Where does it say that in your oath? Your job is to keep the peace, maintain order in a free society, uphold the Constitution, the state laws, and correct the behavior of the American citizen. Okay, that means that the bootlickers will love this, that if I show up on scene and Jane Doe is having a problem with her spouse is cheating on her, and Jane Doe scratched him or whatever, I think I needed to dish out punishment. I'm not going to arrest Jane Doe as the physical injuries to John Doe it dictates. I'm going to beat the shit out of John Doe because it's my job to correct his behavior. Show up to a domestic, 15-year-old kid's beating mom and dad. We could take him to Depke, you could take him to county, you could take him to juvie, or you could beat the shit out of the kid and teach him a lesson. Why are we stopping at traffic tickets? Some people need to be shot. Why don't you just go to a liquor store theft in progress, show up and shoot the offender? Because they need to find out, right? That's what the American public wants you to have, that type of power, because of recidivism. You don't get how you've been played right in the middle by your government. Look at your district and state's attorneys. Chicago just implemented now, I guess Cook County State's Attorney now is making it possible for police officers to charge felony gun charges without having to call the state's attorney. Are you fucking out of your mind? Just now you're doing it? How many of you know? You get the righteous bust. You get the guy who has been breaking the law for God knows how long. You finally got him dead to rights. You got all the evidence, all the paperwork. Everything is perfect. You don't want anything thrown out of the court. You call the on-call SA or ADA. Nah, knock it down to a misdemeanor. Give him an I-bond. Give him court date for 2 weeks from now. Felony denial? That's what we called it. It wasn't felony approval. The citizens will never understand how many Chicago or any suburb or anyone else cop, they get the best, most righteous arrests on the biggest shitbag criminals out there. And it's the district and state's attorney who doesn't do their job, kicks them back out on the street, shitting all over you, the cop. And then what happens? Then you get so frustrated. Why am I even doing my job? Command staff comes down on you. You're not doing your job enough. Your performance evaluation sucks. You get taken out of your brand new car. You wanted midnights. You're not getting midnights. You're going back on days. They fuck with you like crazy, forcing you to do your job. You got your nagging fucking spouse and your bitch whiny kids at home shitting all over you who don't respect you. You're stuck in that box for 12 hours a day. The only reason you get out of your car is for a shit reason, and your emotions. Your emotions are just expected to stay in check. And when you do your job the right way, it is not upheld by the courts. And what does the American citizen want? They want you to punish. They want you to take a shitbag like George Floyd, who committed a crime 5, 10, 15 years ago, and they want you to support a cop for kneeling on his neck for 9 minutes like he's a goddamn trophy. He's shot in the Serengeti, and he's posing for all the cameras. Well, he was a shitbag. He did this. He did that. I got news for you. I don't care if you watch Fall of Minneapolis or whatever it is. Go watch the videos. Those cops never did an investigation to begin with. Different story entirely. Why is it that the American citizen doesn't get the same afforded support when it comes to defending themselves against tyranny that you do? You want compliance. In 2017, I did a video that I said I was in uniform. Was doing videos back then in my personal car after work. It was people like me, Mike the Cop, Officer Daniels, Woodward, Tommy Norman. We were the ones who started the social media shit with law enforcement. And back then, we would talk about pro-law enforcement stuff. All my content is gone. But I told people, comply, comply, comply. Doesn't matter what the issue is. When you're on the street with a cop, comply no matter what. I get phone calls. Adam Carolla's talking about you on his show because he agrees with you complying. Fine, I get that. I'm never saying don't comply. But the amount of cops in the comments section on this Instagram post shows you guys have lost it. You are the hammers now. You don't see that you've been conditioned by your own government, by your non-willing state's attorneys and districts to do their job, by the pressures of the people who do not know your job. The American citizen who thinks that you are supposed to be the hired dumb muscle, the armed henchman of the government to punish people that they don't even fucking do, right? The American citizens don't want to discipline their kids because we know the state gets involved and we can't do that. And then they want you to punish those kids after they've spent a lifetime of doing nothing about them. But you want compliance. You guys are in the comment section saying it is a less than 1% people that we meet on the street. Cops are going to be doing X, Y, and Z. But you say we hold ourselves to a higher standard. How hard is it? Hate me all you fucking want. It makes zero difference to me. But my words had better get a full agreement and compliance from all of you. Yes, 100%. If one of us violates the Constitution, they deserve to be federally charged. I agree with if a cop breaks into the home of an American citizen without probable cause, reasonable suspicion, or a warrant, and the cop knows that, and they do it, and they kick that fucking door in, and the homeowner shoots them, I have to support the homeowner. Not make an arrest, send them through court, they could fight it in court, comply or die. No. That's not the oath you swore. You swore to uphold the Constitution. And yes, these are extremist views for a reason. If you are not striving for the highest level of excellence in any profession, let alone law enforcement above all, why are you even in that profession? You know, we put sports athletes and Hollywood movie stars up on these pedestals, and professional sports athletes, Olympians, movie stars, they practice their craft to an obscene level that is paramount to obsession. That's how they're so focused on performing on a level of unmatched excellence to a standard you can never reach. It's perfection. You can never reach it, but they're never going to stop reaching for it. And that is executed in the delivery of what they do on Sunday afternoons, during every 2 weeks, during every 4 years of an Olympics cycle, or every movie that you see. They're so perfect in their craft because they want excellence, but not when it comes to cops. Fat, lazy, pass or fail. I don't know what the First Amendment is. These First Amendment auditors should have been eliminated 2 years ago, minimally. They should have run out of content. There should be no need. The First Amendment auditor on YouTube profession shouldn't exist anymore. But they keep proving the standard that you hold yourselves in law enforcement, you don't care about. You don't. It's your fitness level. How many guys out there, like Fit Responder, you see him. I've seen the wave of turn. He went from really supportive now to calling out fit, fat cops because he sees, yeah, there's an epidemic of cops who don't give a shit about themselves. And if they don't give a shit about themselves, what are they going to bring to when it comes down to the knowledge of the law, to following it through, to delivering that law? Well, it's less than 1% of the time that we get the addresses wrong on somebody's home on a warrant, and we kick in the wrong door, shoot the dog, rough up the family. Less than 1% is too much. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm saying your tolerance and your level of expectancy for striving for perfection on everything in the profession of law enforcement should be the highest of any goddamn profession in the history of the world. But you choose instead to hate me. You choose to sit there and ad hominem attack me. I don't fucking care. I care about the fact that there are countless of you out there who are still lazy, uneducated. You fit the description of what Ian Irish wrote. A non-constitutionally embodied, reckless, disgraceful losers. But those are the same ones you will defend when they fuck up on the job and say, well, you have to understand, we get it wrong sometimes. It should never be an accepted answer. The more and more I see lately that I post challenging rhetoric that ruffles the feathers of law enforcement, I see how many people who are citizens will state constitution, law, facts, evidence, and then the arguments of the pro-police crowd who are either cops themselves, retired, or Blue Line supporters are, well, nothing. No education in their comments. All personally butthurt attacked. I was one of you. I get it. I wish to God that Facebook didn't dump my public figure page from years ago, because I would pull up all those old videos and I would go over them now and say, holy shit, I cannot believe that I had this mindset. It was always an us versus them mindset. We were taught that the guy with the baggie of weed was the biggest fucking criminal on the planet. We were taught that the guy who steals a car, he needs to be run down and pit maneuvered off the road. You're taught. You're never taught humanity. Every single one of you wants to humanize the badge, but you don't ever want to look at the concept of all behavior has meaning. So if we can't look at or address all behavior has meaning in a citizen, and we get it, the laws suck, right? How many years new laws come out? You can't go outside without your shoelaces being tied, or you could get a citation from your government. We get it. But why is it that we want the all behavior has meaning focus removed from citizens, and they're shitbags no matter what? You want to have a cop jump in front of a moving car of a girl who steals a bottle of fucking booze, shoots and kills her and her unborn child, and you don't want to say, well, that cop put himself in a position to be potentially run over, therefore creating officer-induced jeopardy, and it was a crime that wasn't in use of deadly force based on Graham v. Connor, but fuck around, find out, because she deserved it. She deserved it. We don't ever want to talk about maybe the fact she was a lost fucking kid who just was never brought up right. And yes, criminals absolutely need to be held accountable, but the problem is your courts are not holding them accountable. Your criminal justice system after you is not holding anyone fucking accountable. So again, I'm getting the pressure that you're put under. I understand it. But at the same time, you're the ones that are dropping the fucking ball. Every one of you on Mike and Tyler's video, Anti-Hero Podcast, who is not in alignment with what I said, you are a domestic terrorist. If you absolutely condemn the concept of an American citizen being forced or put in a position to use the Second Amendment on a cop, and it's a person, it's a man, it's a woman who just has the title of police officer, and they're abusing their title, and they're willingly, knowingly, with malice and intent, violates the Constitution, becoming a criminal, and you still think the American citizen should fight it in court, you are a traitor. You are a traitor, because otherwise your mindset would have been, no, that can never be accepted. And you would hold every single one of your fucking brothers in blue accountable. And every shift, you would take it a little bit more seriously. And you would look at Officer Smith, who walks in, and go, dude, you need to lose 30 fucking pounds because you are fat. You're going to get into a foot pursuit. You're going to catch the guy. You're going to have to escalate force because you can't breathe. You're going to shoot them. And then I'm going to wind up in court with you because I'm trying to put handcuffs on him. Every person who gets pass or fail at the range, who has an abysmal marksmanship, you should be going, nah, get at the range. I don't care if it costs you 50 fucking bucks a week and you're a cheap ass. Get to the fucking range until you can shoot a rat's nest from 25 yards away, because I'm not showing up on a scene with you and the rounds are going down range and you shoot a fucking kid because you didn't have the knowledge or the skill. All of you who don't know the First Amendment or Fourth Amendment, you should be looking in going, hey, do you know what the First Amendment is? Recite it now, because I'll be goddamned if I'm going to wind up at the Dirksen Federal Building because some First Amendment auditor came up and you put him in cuffs or demanded their ID because you didn't know what it is. You guys are afraid to hold each other accountable. But when someone like me speaks about the Constitution and that oath you swore an oath to, you all get butthurt in defense, and to get together, come collectively like little fucking piranhas waiting for the cow to enter in the Nile, right? It's feeding time, because it threatens your perception of comfort and your perceived reality when I say, uphold your oath to the Constitution. Uphold your oath to the Constitution. I stand by my words. I defend police officers. I think it is the greatest, most honorable profession in the fucking world. There is a level of excellence and standards and professionalism in this job that matches no other. Not a heart surgeon, not a Starbucks barista, not a celebrity, movie star, football player, Olympic athlete. You You. And this profession has been poisoned by the district attorneys and the state's attorneys' lack of doing jobs, the corrupt judges, your command staff who has long forgotten what the job is, the command staff who makes the horrible hiring decisions that they don't even let you. They don't ever let you fucking soap and towel party the new guys that come on and embarrass you by doing stupid TikToks and putting yourselves in a position to be seen by the public as fucking jokes. I get countless emails from you guys. Look into my department. We have an officer that does this. Look into this. I work with this one. Look into this. And you guys are too fucking afraid to speak up. And you want me to do it for you. I'm not important. I mean nothing. You guys are the most important thing on the planet. And if you cannot collectively step up to the plate, condemn, even in a hypothetical scenario, criminal, unconstitutional actions of a police officer, if you cannot condemn the TikTok cops who are going out and shitting on all over a profession you once took seriously, and you're just falling back on laziness, sloth, complacency, status quo, then you're not on the side of we the people. You said it. You guys support it. You view the 1%ers, the 3%ers, those who support the Constitution, the sovereign citizens who, although educated, are very misguided. You see them as anti-LEO. And if that's anti-LEO and you view them as criminals, what are you? What are you? They know more than you do. We went through a stage online where people were wearing Punisher logos with blue lines going down them. And the fucking joke is, if anybody knows who's with the character Frank Castle, what he represented, how many cops would he put in the fucking grave? And that's what you wear? You don't even know what you're supporting. My ultimate point to drive this statement home when it comes down to the Anti-Hero podcast statement I made is, I swore an oath that I no longer uphold. I'm not a cop anymore, to defend the Constitution. And at the time, they were just words. I put my hand, did this and this, got my badge. I didn't fucking, yay, I'm a cop. Woo! Didn't pay attention to it. It wasn't until it was much later. And I met Sheriff Richard Mack, Constitutional Peace Officers and Sheriffs Association. I understood, holy shit, I'm a little bit misguided. I listened to men who knew more than me about what the Constitution meant, that I went, oh, fuck, my career changed. Hate me all you want. I don't care. I am not a good man. I am not a nice guy. I am a piece of shit. That's okay. Those who love me, and they're my friends and family. That's it. You don't matter to me. But what you matter to is the United States, the profession, and the profession that I love, and the profession that I swear I will do everything with my last breath to fight against those who are like, oh, only good cop is a dead cop. I will stand up against them to protect you any day of the week and 100 times on Sunday as well. As long as you are coming to the table, remembering the oath you swore, knowing it, honoring it, and being the fucking police officers, the professional police officers that you swore you would. For all you in the comment section of this, hey, happy Monday. Go fuck yourselves. I really don't care. You mean nothing to me. But you do mean something to the people, the towns you serve. And if you hate me that much that it causes you to condemn anyone, actually support anyone who goes against the Constitution, I'm not the problem. You are. You are. It is my absolute utmost wish and offerance of support that you guys defend the Constitution like you swore you would, if it costs you everything, because that's what makes you better than the rest of us. This is what makes police officers the best amongst all of us, is no matter what, you have to hold fast to the Constitution, damned of what Group A says, damned to what Group B says, damned to what command staff orders, damned to what policy says, damned to what state law says. The Constitution above all. That is the sacrifice. That is the most pride-honored aspect of the job. But sadly, most of you just turn corners collect a paycheck, write your 2 citations a day to meet the performance evaluation standards, you're fat, you're slobs, you have no passion or profession, you have no integrity, and that's what you've become. And I have no respect or honor or value for you whatsoever. So, honor the Constitution is my only thing. That's it. But when it comes to this comment, I support we the people. We the people, the American patriot, the Constitution, and those who value what that means to this country. Because without it, we are nothing. And you guys are more important than you think. It might be time for